Welcome back to Sunrise, a time for the man them have a real conversation. And in Uncut this morning, we're shining a spotlight on men's health, more specifically the phenomenon of men neglecting their health, from avoiding routine checkups to ignoring symptoms of illness. Well, we have general practitioner Dr. Malcolm Brewster. He joins us with some insights this morning. Good morning, Doc. How are you doing?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm good. First of all, I would imagine that this is a medical thing, but it's also a psychological thing. Men and poor health-seeking behavior. Yeah. Why?
Okay, well, first of all, health is a complete state of mental, physical, and spiritual well-being, and not merely the absence of disease.
Right.
And so when we talk about health, we think more than just the physical. Men, anecdotally and established in literature, have historically and continue to just neglect their health. And mostly it's because of socio-cultural factors, such as just the perception of being manly. You know that video that says, man must look like man must act like man. Right? So the idea that, subjecting yourself to something as vulnerable as just a medical checkup, it's somewhat emasculating. And then there's also stigma associated with mental health. So many people suffer with mental health challenges, but the stigma associated with it, especially for men, because of the perception of weakness.
But Doc, sometimes man and a rotten off, may I go and watch it?
Exactly.
That is the universal man phrase.
There's an epidemic of watchitis in Jamaica.
Watchitis. And there are some, I would have to say, would you say prostate cancer is curable for the most part if it's detected early?
Right, so if it is that it is detected early, then interventions can be implemented to reduce mortality. Unfortunately, it is the most common cancer in Jamaica. It is the most common cancer among men, but it is preventable with early screening. Unfortunately, though, Jamaica does not have a prostate screening program for the most common cancer. And so it really is incumbent on government and general society to just encourage men to get their wellness check. You don't have to feel sick to go to the doctor.
Right. And that's so important. I went there first because I know a lot of men, colleagues of mine, share that particular fear, that the very common ailment that affects so many men, prostate cancer. And it's because of a particular method of testing it is worrisome for men, you know. How do you speak to men about that today in May 2024?
Okay, well, the first thing I would say is that, one, there is nothing to fear, right? Despite, the social factors, culture, and that stuff that, cause persons to fear digital rectal examination. However, with the advance of technology, there are other methods to get to the same solution, which is simply to detect your state of health and intervene. So in terms of prostate cancer, there's the PSA test. That is simply a blood test that can be used to correlate. However, I will say that the digital rectal exam with the PSA increases the likelihood of early detection. And so I'm not going to sit here and suggest that, you should avoid the DRE. You should do the DRE. But if it is that you have such big reservations, there are other means to get to the same end.
I want to ask Dennis, I always hear, this person has cancer and it's stage 4. I've never heard about stage 1. And it has to get to say, I never heard about, it was detected at stage 1 or 2.
Right. And
why is it? Why can't we detect these things at the earliest stages?
Right. So we can detect them. However, there has to be screening programs in place. Many, beyond just prostate cancer, there are screening programs in Jamaica. But you know the saying, you cannot take you can take the horse to the water, but you cannot force it to drink. You need to come to actually be screened.
Doc, one of the things that I think might be able to help is when we do like our full male executive profile. At what age would you say men should start doing it every year?
Well, generally, the earlier the better. In the case of prostate cancer, for example, it's encouraged that persons from 50 onwards, you do your prostate exam or PSA test every year. However, studies have shown that men of African descent are even more likely to get prostate cancer, for example. So some literature suggests starting as early as 45, but it's never too early to start getting a checkup. And it's not just about prostate cancer, just in general.
Do all your blood work, get the whole thing done.
Let's speak about the male executive profile. What does that, what kind of information that collects for the individual?
Right.
Why is it so popular?
Right. So the male executive profile, what it does is that it basically it's a series of blood tests, stool tests, and urine tests that gives us a full understanding of what is going on biochemically in the body. And certain tests, for example, like the PSA, you won't do it in a woman because women don't have prostate.
Right, right.
So there are certain tests that are specific to men to detect things that are specific to men.
Right.
But it's just getting a global view of your state of health. And when you correlate that with history and examination, a good practitioner is supposed to be able to tell you how you stay.
All right. You're good at what you do. We try to be good at what we do. What would you say us in the media could do a better job of in terms of the conversations that we need to have? Conversations like this, but where do the conversations need to go so that more men can feel like they can be sensitized to it?
I think the conversation needs to trend in the direction of one, normalizing health checkups, normalizing health checks. It's okay. It's fine. It should be a swag. Because I think that if it is we target the discussions where the issues lie, for example, men being busy with work, one needing to provide for their family. You can't provide for your family if you're dead. It's just that simple. So if it is that your excuse is really that, oh, I don't have the time, I have to feed my family and that kind of stuff, think about the fact that if you safeguard your health, it extends your life expectancy, that you can provide for them longer rather than them losing you either to morbidity or mortality.
Quick fire. Give me 5 things that men should start doing as of today to make themselves live longer.
1, eat healthier, drink a lot of water, exercise, go to a doctor, and every single person should go to a therapist.
Whoa!
Psychotherapy.
Whoa! I didn't see that one on the list.
Even if you feel good, you don't feel sad, you don't feel depressed, go to a therapist.
Yeah.
Yes, because there are just so many negative stimulants in violence, crime, all this sort of stuff. Even though you're not affected directly, indirectly, the pressure of just...
And sometimes there's things bubbling below the surface that you're not aware of.
Definitely. Everyone should get a therapist.
You know, that list, therapists, I didn't see that on the list, but exercise, I was at a barber.
Yeah.
I can't forget this years ago, and him said, IT, I'm find it. And I said, what? I think of some new thing. He said, exercise.
Yeah.
This when you exercise, I hate that IT. He might tell me like it was like a new discovery. So even though we hear it over and over and over again, it's in the list, it's very important.
Is there a drink water something there? Is there a drink water something there? A serious business.
And mind your business too.
Doc, you know, so you're fine.
Before we close, can you sing?
Drink water and mind your business.
Nah,
That
always
was
a pleasure.
Malcolm Brewster, Doc, in the house. It's a time for a short break, but listen, I know you're enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. I wish this wouldn't end, but it ends now. But we wrap things up when we return, so stick and stay. Don't move a muscle.
We'll be right back.